Welcome to Ren Behind the Practice. I'm Sophie Campisi. I'm a holistic business strategist, and I spend a lot of my time in conversation with practitioners, coaches, and healers about the behind the scenes of their businesses. What I started noticing is that some of the most honest, important conversations about building a practice were happening quietly, one-on-one and behind the scenes. And there's still so much internalized guilt and shame when it comes to building the business. If things aren't working the way that we hoped, if they aren't going well, and even when the work itself is powerful. This podcast series exists to bring those conversations forward. The dreams, the uncertainty, the highs and lows, the recalibrations, the messy middle. And my hope is that by normalizing these conversations, we can soften the stigma, feel less alone, and start closing the gaps together. Today's guest is Heather Schirle. Heather helps entrepreneurial moms stop redeciding their direction and stop building from hustle so they can finally make a whole body yes in their business and confidently commit to it in the long run. Heather, it's so great to have you here. Thank you for showing up and having this conversation with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. The goals of these conversations are to capture the real-time reflections, authentic, honest, and behind the scenes about what we all have going on in building our businesses. So a place that I want to start is when you picture your work 6 to 12 months from now, what does success look like for you?
That's like a loaded question. So when I picture 6 to 12 months from now, business-wise, I want to have a really grounded and but yet expansive community. Because as moms, we're always fed this like hustle. And then we get to a point where our bodies will just not allow us to hustle anymore. And we're like, okay, well, something needs to shift, something needs to change. And there's not a lot of moms that I've seen out there that are actually feeding the other moms and helping them to come to this awakening of what's next. So I want my communities to bring that, my work to bring that to the communities. And I have a community that I've started, and I have a course that I've started to really help the moms identify that the hustle culture has created this identity for you, but we're going to pull you out of that and really get you into this identity of wealth and what it looks like to not have to work as hard as you're working, but make more in that identity. So I've started a community. I'm working on my course that I have, and then I actually have a podcast that I'm working on as well. So it's really bringing in this grounded yet expansive and full body to your business instead of just this straight hustle and get as much as you can done. So if I can touch even 10 moms in the next 6 months, my heart is so full with that.
What are the
My internal
markers of
markers?
success? Yeah.
I think my internal marker would be more of just envisioning myself as the CEO and not having to control everything, just being able to sit in the discomfort of not doing everything and being okay with that. Because as a mom, and I used to be a bookkeeper, so I'm very analytical, and having to control everything has always been. And being okay with being like, that's okay. I passed the baton to this person and they're good. Let's go. That's it.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a really big thing that I've been working on lately is just being okay in discomfort, because that's the expansive part. And that's where if you're not okay with being uncomfortable, you're not going to be growing. And we have this false sense of security of like, okay, I'm comfortable now, so we're good. But that's really not the part that's going to expand you. And if you sit in that I'm comfortable part, you're going to be stagnant.
Totally. What feel like the next steps for you when you think about getting to those goals, getting those 10 clients that you can support? What feel like the next steps? Like, what do you feel like it's going to take on the business side to get there?
Really staying focused, because I have 3 kids and I homeschool and we live out in the country. I mean, I have a lot of working parts in my business right now. And so really staying focused and making sure that I'm doing my non-negotiables every day, even when I'm tired, even when I just don't have it in me just to pull it up and be like, okay, this is not hustle. This is focused, aligned decisions that I've made that I am committed to staying with. That is really what it is. And I think it's part of getting out of the hustle culture and the hustle in your brain of, if I do this, that puts me back into the hustle. Well, that's not the energy that you come from. You come from, I've made this decision and I'm sticking to it and committing to doing it.
What are some of the things that you are implementing when you're in your work? You mentioned like to get the things done that you want to implement. Like, what are some of those things?
Energetically or business wise, because there's,
Well, both. I think
okay,
both are
yeah.
important and relevant.
Yeah, energetically, I'm really taking into my consciousness what my capacity is, because I find that if you push past your capacity, that's where you start to get into that scarcity mode and that hustle mode. And if you can't just work on your capacity to hold things, there's no way that you're going to be able to do the business things that you need to do. So I've been doing a lot of visualization. I've been throwing my consciousness into my person already running the business that I want to run, getting the downloads from them, and then taking action in as they would in all aspects. And that's such a loaded thing to say, because I think that when you push your energetics into that person and you get the downloads, sometimes you feel this past part of yourself come in, and the scarcity, if you feed that scarcity, it's just going to keep taking over what you just downloaded. So really stepping in and taking action, because taking action is actually going to be what's going to regulate you to that CEO person that you're working to be, and just getting into that. But behind the scenes, I've been on my business side of doing things is actually like setting up the back protocols, like my systems, my websites, like all of those kind of things, and really, really getting organized in, okay, this is my non-negotiables for the day. Like I have to do a post, I have to do this on the social media side, community side, I have to do this. Because if that system is not there in the back end, you can do all the energetics you want to do and take all the action steps, but you have no system to actually hold you there.
Yeah. What are some of those system pieces? You mentioned some social media content. Uh, are there other big pillars that you're focusing on?
Really just my messaging, specifying my message down to the actual person that I really want to work with and what we're really working on. I think because I was brought into this with the hustle culture and the scarcity, it was always follow this guru or do what they're saying and get this, that, and the other down. But it's so much more than just follow somebody else's lead. It's really about listening to your intuition and, okay, who are these people that I'm supposed to be helping? Who are these women I'm supposed to be helping? And through all of this journey that I've been through, just really getting my messaging down has made so much of the other stuff like a million times easier. And you don't want to niche down too much, but like just like the right amount so you know the type of person that you're calling in and your community that you're calling in, it changes everything. But doing that in alignment with your intuition and with the vision you have yourself going into is it just, I can't even explain how much it changes when you have that set. Yeah.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's one of the biggest things that I work on with people. And I can talk from my own personal experience of having for so many years when I was running my practice, people saying, you need a niche, you need a niche. And I always like heard it like, yeah, I get that. But no one was explaining to me really why to do it or how to do it. And so it's not like I was like consciously resisting, like, oh, I don't want to. I just actually like it never really opened up naturally for me until it did. And then I understood why it was vital to do that and necessary, all the things that you already know. Because if you don't do it, if you try to talk to everyone, then no one can hear you because it's impossible to talk to all the different myriad of people, the countless amounts of people. You try to talk to all the pain points and all of the things and all the solutions and all of the problems, and you're trying to encapsulate that, then it ends up having you talk to no one because you're trying to talk to everyone and then no one hears you. It doesn't hit home to anyone. And so that's just obviously, as you know, it's one of the reasons why niching down, being super clear in your target market is actually vital. And I teach people you don't have to stay there for forever, but you absolutely need it to gain momentum. So yeah, totally with you on that. I'm curious, how did you go about it? Was there a process that you used to get there?
Yes and no. Because at first I thought I was just targeting moms. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just targeting moms. Or first I started with women and then moms. And then I'm like, okay, well, actually, I'm targeting moms that want to be entrepreneurs. Like, not all moms want to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They also want to be, some just want to be moms, and some just are okay with working and sending their kids to daycare. And if that works for them, that's great. But I'm targeting like very specific moms that are entrepreneurs that want to stay home with their kids, want to homeschool, kind of want to detach from society in a way and create their own society. The process that I did for that was really just digging in internally and being like, okay, connecting with my intuition, connecting with the person that's already running and living the life that I want to live. I do a lot of visualization in that, a lot of belief changing in that process that got me to there, because it was like, I see this vision, but where do I get in there? And I kept telling myself, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But that was really just me using that as a scapegoat to be like, I'm afraid to step into that person, because when I step into that person, I can't hide anymore.
Yeah.
And that person already knows where and what to do, where to do things and what to do things. And so it was really connecting with that. And in so many different ways, I've had to get into that mindset. And so when I was really set on, okay, these are the women I want to help, because they're going to be listening and they're going to be in that mindset where they already know it. They are just still using that, I don't know, or I've tried all these avenues and it's not working, to get into that place. So I think the other thing too is about honing in on your target audience is really going to be the people that know what you're talking about and how you're talking about it and can take it in and actually take the steps to do it. Because if you're talking to all these women or all these moms or all, whoever you're talking to, and they still aren't at that level that you're talking, it's just going to go over their heads or in one ear and out the other. And it's not really going to settle in and make a difference that you want to make.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. One of the phrases that I use in my work is like pants on fire problem. It's not enough for it to just be a problem. It does have to be something that, loosely speaking, pants on fire, someone's going to be taking action about. And this is part of what is I'm so glad that you're bringing this up, because this is part of, I think, what's not talked about on why we do this is because in my experience, and I'm curious on your take on this, as wide awake, autonomous, conscious humans that aren't just doing the thing that everyone's telling them to do, we need things to feel good on our nervous systems, right? So even when it comes to us as being business owners, having some offer that we are offering to people, needing to, air quotes, sell, it still needs to feel good for us. And if we don't nail the target market, it actually puts us in a position where we're having to feel cringy and selling or having to convince people. But if we do the work to get more clear on all the things that you're talking about, it has us in a position to not have to close too big of a gap to where we're feeling that yucky, cringy, salesy type stuff that we don't like, that feels so gross on us. If we lay the foundation better at the beginning, then when it comes to actually air quote selling, and in the work that I do, I show people how to do it so you don't even have to sell. You don't have to do that because you already lay those foundational work and the people are actively seeking, like you said. It's like finding someone that's looking for what you're doing. Well, if you do that ahead of time, then when you're showing up, there's so much permission. You're just building trust, really, and you're not having to convince someone or bridge too big of a gap to try to tell someone why they need what you do. And that's what gets us into that cringy, like, feeling that we don't want to have.
I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
I was actually a teller when I started working
Yeah.
years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so I got training on selling through their process. And it was so cringy because it was just a sell as much as you can. And then I got into, starting my entrepreneurial journey. And that was the same thing. It's like, oh, you need this course and this course and this course. And it's like, where does it come to like hey, you want to talk to me about buying my course? Great. If it's not a fit for you, that's when I pull my ethics in and I say, this may not be a fit for you. Let's try this instead. Or let's try something else instead. And that's where the ethics of the selling part of it comes in. And when you have that foundation of like, this is who I help, this is what I do with you, this is how you can take this, what I'm teaching you, and go forward and launch yourself forward into the life that you want to live. That's where that ethics parts come in. And there are so many people that still don't understand that. And they're just selling from the scarcity mode.
Yeah. Yeah, or it's just being too general. And then it's like, you just have to, you put yourself in a position if you don't get that clarity, if you don't narrow down to that target market, you put yourself in a position for having to do a lot of work in the wrong place. You don't want to be convincing someone, right? And so if you don't know exactly who you're looking for, you're just putting yourself in a position to have to do a lot of work that is going to take a very long time. And yeah, it doesn't feel so great for us, right? It doesn't feel like we really just get to show up in our power and just talk and be who we be and share about our work. We have to come out of that a little more. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the other thing is there's a lot of social media people and marketing people that are like, post 3 times a day, do all this content, push all this stuff out. And I think you and I are very similar in the way of like my nervous system, it cannot hold that. I can't sustain that long term. That's hustle for me. That is not something that I'm willing to build my business on. And until you turn that and you create content that is just magnetizing to your target audience, you don't need to do that
Yeah. Yeah.
because you have such strong social media posts, that's already going to magnetize to you. And you don't even have to worry about posting a million times a day and always being on. And that's just so draining, especially to a mom, because, our nervous systems are still attached to our kids or our kids are to ours. And we have to stabilize them and really work on that stabilization with them. And so we're being pulled from, our kids being here, our business being here, and then we have ourself, and then we have our spouse. So like it's so much of a working all these gears to getting to work together that if you put too much into your business, you're not going to have enough to put into your kids. You're not going to have enough to put into your spouse. And then you're not going to have enough to put into yourself. So it's all having this balancing act of being okay with not always performing 3 reels a day and coming from this place of really authenticity that in yourself that your message is really strong. It's going to magnetize your target audience no matter how much you post, and just being okay with that. That is a huge, huge thing that I had to overcome.
Absolutely. I mean, to me, part of what you just described is a definition or a version of building a sustainable practice, one that works for you and your life long term, right? Like one that really is you. When sustainability, of course, has to do with finances. We need our businesses to make the money that we need, but it also is what is a business that we can on all fronts sustain. So, I'm a mom. I have two little boys right now, and it's like what energetically can I sustain for my nervous system? Like what is a good fit for me? What does that look like? How many hours I can work in a day? And are my offers aligned with what I can hold in this phase of my life? And is it still enough? Like looking at these things, part of what I'm really passionate about talking about some of these things is especially, to our people and to this part of the world is we can't ignore business principles, right? Like we can't completely ignore them. And we need to work with them in a way that is still aligned with us. So even something like that, when it comes to, I didn't learn, it took me way too long and no one taught me how to validate an offer, right? Not just financially, but also energetically and for my nervous system. So is this offer actually something when you run the numbers that can bring in the money that you want to bring in, but also like, wow, is this what feels doable on my body? Is that going to scale that and make the money that I need to make every month or every year for my work? Is that also something that my body can hold and my nervous system can hold? Like these are all so important, such important questions. They're both valid. They're all valid. All angles of that are valid.
That's exactly what I was going to say too. If
Yeah.
your body can't handle making that much money from your offers, it's never going to happen.
No.
So that's why I like to throw myself into, I say throw myself, but it's a visualization of
Yeah.
my consciousness going into the person already running this business and what her daily life looks like. And can I actually hold that? And
Yeah.
I always ask for my person living that life to download everything I need to know now to get to that point. And so that's like when I started doing that became such a game changer in like, oh, wait, I'm responding to my kids differently.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? It came from throwing my consciousness or pushing my consciousness into the visualization of the woman that's already running the business and life that I want to live. And then it was like, oh my God, where did I literally will talk to my kids and I'll be like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's
Amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, that really is. Looking forward about your goals and what you think it's going to take to get there, are there any major things that either have been really hard, like hurdles or road bumps, or areas that you feel like you've gotten stuck before when it comes to the actual business building, or that you think you might get stuck on in these next 6 to 12 months to get to where you want to be?
Oh, yeah. There's so many, right? Because it really depends on how I lay things out. And right now, I don't have any help with my kids. It's literally just me and my husband. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere. My mom is like 2.5 hours away. So it's really taking the time and doing it instead of being like, oh, I'm so tired. I don't want to do it. Just being like, no, it doesn't matter because you can align your energy and your focus and you can present what you have to say in any time, whether you have zero energy, quote unquote, zero energy, because you've been handling kids, you switch into your CEO boots and you put those on and you say, okay, it's time to work as a CEO of my business. And until I can do that on a constant basis, that's where my hiccup is. Because I will say in mom zone. And then when I'm like, oh my God, there's so much stuff with the mom stuff that I have to do and the house stuff I have to do. And if I don't say, okay, that stuff needs to stay, it is time for me to be my CEO and, step into those boots and do what I need to do on that end. That's what's really going to hold me back. And just making that a daily practice of doing that even with the kids here is like that's my challenge.
Yeah,
Because once I
totally.
have those boots on, I'm good and I can go.
Yeah,
But getting those on is just, oh, do I have to? Yes, I have to, because this is
totally.
bigger than me. It is so much more that I don't want to just impact my kids, but I want to impact so many moms that are still having a hard time staying home and bringing in the finances for their kids because we can't live on one income. It's just not plausible anymore.
Totally. When you get the boots on, are there any big hurdles that you face on the internal side when it comes to the business specific stuff?
Control. It's all control. Because CEO, so thinking of it as a CEO is like, okay, I can delegate to this person, I can delegate to that person, but I'm not at that step of delegating yet. So I'm like, okay, here's my CEO boots. This is what needs to happen, this, and this. And staying organized in a way that as a CEO, I can still get everything done without having external help right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Before we wrap up our conversation, or as we wrap up, if you don't get there, in terms of like building, if you're not able to get there, what are the costs, either to you or to the world or to others? What do you anticipate being the cost of that?
There's no other option than getting there. But if I were to say, like, hey, I'm going to stop everything now and just be a mom, that I am robbing my clients, my community of being able to provide for their family well, provide financially while providing as a mom. And that creates so much of this like lower energy moms. That is not the community that I want to build. That's not what I want to raise my kids in. I want to have I want to have moms come to my house and be like, let's learn, let's energetically have this exchange that is so fulfilling that I can go home and really just get down and have my mission explode to the point where it's like there's just a ripple effect. So I think that I would be robbing so many people of being able to live the life that they want to live and making it easy, because it's all about how easy it is for you to actually live the life that you want to live, because you can dream it, but then when you go to take the steps, it needs to feel easy and doable. And that is just like, that's one of the things that really has gotten to me, is like, make it easy, because it needs to be easy with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, Heather, thank you so much for having this conversation. If you are out there listening and any part of this felt familiar, you're not alone. Please reach out. Let's connect. And if you want to reach Heather, her links are in the show notes. Thank you again, Heather. And we will
Yeah.
see you in the next episode of Ren Behind the Practice.